whenever I think about generating grassroots and involvement, which is what we need, I always think of the late John Lewis of Georgia, who would come up to me and said, Ron, we're going to go out and we're going to make some good trouble. And what we really need to do is start a grassroots juggernaut from sea to shining sea with respect to voting rights, because I really feel that voting rights and our democracy, protecting our democracy and protecting voting rights are two sides of the same coin. And I think what I'll do is talk a little about the procedure, and then I'll talk about the substance. I think that the Congress should have allowed a bill of this importance, the essential right to vote in our country, should have been allowed to go forward with the rules that would be encompassed by a talking filibuster. A talking filibuster allows both sides to have a chance to make their case. It gives an opportunity to bring people together in a bipartisan way, the way we did with the bipartisan infrastructure plan. And by the way, it's what I used to protect Oregon's death with dignity law. As you'll recall, Oregonians had voted for death with dignity twice. Twice they went to the polls, and I didn't even vote for it initially because I was concerned about the implications for vulnerable seniors. But when Oregonians voted for it twice, I just don't believe you take Oregon's vote and throw it in the trash can. And that's what the House of Representatives tried to do. It came to the Senate. Everybody thought that it was going to pass lickety-split, the end of Oregon's twice approved law. And I just told everybody I was prepared to use a talking filibuster to protect the rights of Oregonians. I said, we're a long way from DC, and I see it as my job to cut that distance. And during the period when I made it clear that I would use a talking filibuster, I went out and gathered evidence that showed that what the House of Representatives had done was way more damaging than anything that Oregonians had voted for. They would have made it in the House tough to treat patients for pain. And when I told Democrats and Republicans about it, they said, no way, we're not going to accept something that makes it hard to treat people and provide meaningful pain relief. So I'm an example of how you can actually have a talking filibuster. Neither side, in the case I just described, felt that they had been treated unfairly. Both sides had a chance to look at the issues, and Oregon prevailed. Now, with respect to voting rights in particular, I very much share your view about what's at stake. And all over the country, we're seeing these efforts to roll back the right to vote, and particularly to limit vote by mail. I consider vote by mail to be the gold standard of casting an informed ballot, because you can take your ballot and talk to your spouse in the living room or in the kitchen and have time to think about it, and the candidates and the measures and the like. And I emphasized to my colleagues that vote by mail has deep bipartisan roots in our state. I was the first senator elected by mail. The second senator in America elected by mail was my friend, Republican Senator Gordon Smith of Pendleton. And we had prominent public figures of both parties involved in this. On the Republican side, Bev Clarno from Central Oregon was a strong supporter of vote by mail. Dennis Richardson, the late Dennis Richardson, often told me he was one of the most conservative people around, and he told Donald Trump that Donald Trump was wrong in attacking vote by mail.